Welcome, and thanks for joining this presentation to learn about Sustainable Westchester, the Westchester Power Program, and our new electricity supply contract with the Con Edison Utility Service Territory. Sustainable Westchester is a nonprofit consortium of the various towns, cities, and villages across Westchester County. 44 of the 45 municipalities in the county are members, including the County of Westchester itself. We act as a shared service resource for our members to deliver sustainability-related programming and initiatives at scale. By leveraging our collective power across the county, we are able to have maximal impact in creating healthy and sustainable communities for the future. Here's a snapshot of Sustainable Westchester's programs and initiatives that reflect the range of work we're doing across different areas to create a healthy and sustainable future. Today, we're obviously here to focus on Westchester Power and the idea and power of community energy. So let's talk about Westchester Power and the value it brings to our communities. Westchester Power is the flagship program of Sustainable Westchester and is what is known as a Community Choice Aggregation Program, or CCA. CCAs are a relatively new model, first enabled by the New York Public Service Commission back in 2015, wherein municipalities can now take control of their energy supply by passing local law to designate a default energy supplier for their municipality. This provides residents and small businesses a municipally vetted and selected alternative for energy supply sources rather than the local utility. While CCAs have existed for over a decade in other parts of the country, Westchester Power was the first such entity here in New York State. Today, the program has grown to 29 municipalities across the county. 24 of these in the Con Edison Utility Territory participate in the program together as an aggregation, wherein they go into electricity service agreements collectively. This does not include the City of Yonkers, which contracts by itself for electricity service currently. So, how does energy generation and delivery work, and how does Westchester Power come into play? At a general level, you as a consumer have a choice about who you buy your electricity from and where it is sourced from. In the case of the Westchester Power Program, our municipalities and the participants in those municipalities are part of our aggregation, which buys New York State hydropower in bulk as the 100% renewable supply source that we offer to residents and small businesses, as well as our standard supply, which is a mixed fossil fuel source. Regardless of who you purchase your energy from, be it Westchester Power or an energy service company, ESCO as it's commonly known, that energy is brought into the electricity grid and is delivered to you in large part by Con Edison, who is responsible for the delivery of that energy, maintains the lines of transmission, and is responsible for billing you as a customer, no matter who you purchase your electricity from at the source. And again, you, as a customer, have choice and option when it comes to supporting clean energy, be it through Westchester Power or with a private company. The Westchester Power Community Energy Program has been a local solution for Westchester communities since 2016, helping them forge a clean energy future as an aggregator for renewable energy supply. Let's look at some of the main features and benefits of the program. Collective power. Westchester Power enables municipalities to collectively leverage their buying power to secure electricity at competitive rates and make energy decisions that reflect the values of their communities. The 100% renewable option is the default supply selection for 27 of the 29 participating municipalities, who've chosen to make a decision that reflects their community's commitments to being environmental leaders and allows those individuals to access renewable energy with ease and safety versus having to contract directly with private companies for renewable energy. The fixed rate program structure of our rates provides security and assurance of what to expect month to month for electricity supply portion of your bill and insulates you from the risks of the variable rates of the utility. And then finally, participating in the program is investing back into our organization and into your community. Through increased participation of residents and small businesses in this program, you're also helping enable the deployment of other dynamic sustainability initiatives that will directly benefit Westchester communities. Let's continue with some more key features of the program. This is an opt-out format program. And the opt-out format enables the program to maximize the potential buying power of our communities and get the best prices possible. The opt-out format functions the same way as your electricity supply always has, wherein previously utility was your default supplier prior to Westchester Power. But now you actually have a choice for the first time through this Westchester Power option, and this is a choice that has been vetted and chosen by your municipal representatives. Our program is also consumer friendly. Since this program is here to serve you as constituents of your municipalities and be a public benefit, there's no contracts, fees, or penalties for coming and going. You can do this as much as you want. This service is here for you to use if you choose to or not. We offer 2 supply options, as previously referenced. The 100% renewable maximizes your environmental impact at a highly cost-competitive level. And then we also have a standard supply, which is the most cost-effective option in the program, and is a mixed fossil fuel renewable source. And then finally, it's important to note that savings are not guaranteed in this program, since we cannot predict the utility costs going into the future, but the program has been historically competitive for both supply options against the utility rates. In summary, Westchester Power offers the benefits of a vetted community program, approved by your local leaders, and one that is directly overseen by the Department of Public Service for strict compliance measures. And as our members, we exist to serve the municipalities and the interests of our community members. This program also offers stable fixed rates, so you never experience price spikes and know what to expect month to month, unlike the variable rate utility. We're here also as an advocate for your interests, and as mentioned, we're a resource to help community members better understand their energy choices, educate them about electricity bills and other aspects related to the larger energy market, and act as a committed partner to help develop the program to best fit the needs of the community through direct collaboration and feedback opportunities, such as information sessions like these. And then finally, we're obviously here to be on the forefront of the clean and renewable energy transition, which is a critical piece for the future health and sustainability of our communities. And we make renewable energy available with ease and at scale for our communities. So you may be wondering, why does anything matter regarding my energy and electricity choice? Well, the importance of our energy choices are a critical consideration in what the future holds for our environment and communities in the near term and into the future. Currently, electricity consumption is among the chief contributing factors to carbon emissions and climate change. New York has the most aggressive goals of any state in the country with regard to cutting emissions and switching ourselves over to renewable energy, recognizing the critical need of reducing emissions for the health of our state and future of our communities here locally and globally. And we're here to help meet the New York State climate goals and the work we do through Westchester Power and other sustainable Westchester programs and initiatives. Looking at emission sources, you can see that transportation and our residential and commercial building electricity consumption account for the majority of CO2 emissions and are where we really need to focus if we're going to tackle carbon emissions significantly going into the future. The effects we're experiencing from carbon emissions are only going to grow in depth and impact year to year if we continue without changing our behavior as a society. CO2 emissions trap heat in our atmosphere, so as we continue to emit carbon, we are continuing to heat the globe. That global warming drives the impacts on our world that we recognize as climate change. A recognizable example of the effects of climate change here at home in New York are the increased regularity of tropical storms that make their way into the Gulf states up to here, where communities are now facing more frequent damage to property and human life. You can see a couple examples below here on the right from Hurricane Ida that made its way to New York last September. High temperatures globally trap moisture, making these hurricanes and storms more intense and longer lasting. And as the planet continues on this warming trend, you can see that the projection on the left side here is that New York summers will feel more like summers in Louisiana by the end of the century, and therefore exacerbate some of these greater and high impact weather events and temperatures we're already experiencing. And while we recognize that climate change is going to affect us all, we also need to equally recognize that it's going to affect communities who are already struggling with societal inequities the deepest and the hardest, even more than the rest of us. Studies show that climate change exacerbates already existing societal inequities for minority and low-income communities. This means health issues related to pollution and temperature exposure will continue to rise in these communities. Financial hardships already experienced will persist for those whose lives and jobs are most impacted by weather damage and extreme temperatures. And the needed resources to combat climate change and its impacts will continually be, as they have been, hard to access and not directed towards those communities who need it the most and suffer the most from the impacts of climate change. So in dealing with the issues and coming up with solutions, we need to ensure that these communities are put at the forefront of receiving those benefits and solutions. So the call to action for us here at Sustainable Westchester and society is simple. We need to build healthy and resilient communities of the future by mitigating climate change to secure a sustainable future for our children, by enabling access to affordable, clean, and renewable power that is locally controlled, which will improve air quality and environmental conditions to ensure better health outcomes for residents, and boost the economy and create green jobs to enhance community growth opportunity. Now that we sufficiently covered what Westchester Power is and why we're here, let's talk about the program pause that we're in currently and the program resumption to come. We are pleased to announce that the Westchester Power electricity supply is resuming after a brief pause come November. The previous Westchester Power electricity supply contract ended on June 30th, and due to extreme market conditions, we were hampered in our contracting efforts to have a subsequent agreement in place on July 1st, so participants were transferred to the Con Edison supply after June 30th. We recently completed the competitive bidding process for the next supply period and have awarded a contract to Constellation New Energy, who will continue as the supplier for your area. Those participants who were transferred to the Con Edison supply in July are likely eligible for automatic re-enrollment in Westchester Power, as well as those who have become newly eligible for the program at that time. In September, eligible participants will receive a notification letter from Sustainable Westchester with details regarding your enrollment into the program, again, which is set to resume November 1st. So why did the program pause? As mentioned previously, market conditions have been very volatile, and over the past year, prices have spiked drastically on a regular basis in that time. The volatility has created disruption industry-wide and forced us to delay our solicitation. We reached a point where we could not contract the supplier in time to ensure continuity with the program starting July 1st, and participants, as mentioned previously, were switched over to the Con Edison supply as a result. Here's a brief snapshot to demonstrate the market conditions we've been referencing. This slide demonstrates the volatility we faced in the energy market, particularly focusing on natural gas, as it is the predominant fuel for electricity production. In this chart on the left, you can see the prices tripled in a year and a half, from under $3 per unit for natural gas to over $9 now today. These steep rise in prices have directly translated into higher prices for electricity. And the volatility and spike in these prices over that time have made locking in price hard to do with suppliers. And you can see some of the factors referenced here on the right of what's playing into that. Geopolitical issues such as the war in Ukraine, spiking temperatures, and other factors that drastically affect supply and cost. Mid-July, we were able to successfully hold a bid solicitation and award a contract to Constellation New Energy to continue as the supplier for this aggregation. The rates for both residential and small commercial customer classes are as follows. The 100% renewable supply is 15.128 cents per kilowatt hour, and the standard supply is 13.364 cents per kilowatt hour. Important to note that the best rates on the market for 100% renewable energy that you'll find, if you were to look today, start at over 17 cents per kilowatt hour, and the rate for Con Edison's basic supply, which is a mixed fuel source, was 11.8 cents per kilowatt hour through August 25th. So, given market conditions as noted before, we feel very confident that we have competitive rates going into the future starting in November. And the term for this contract is November 1st, 2022 through October 31st, 2024, 24 months. So let's review some key dates and milestones for the program and for you as a customer. In September, eligible participants will receive a notification letter in the mail alerting them to their pending enrollment and available options. This will also represent the start of the 30-day opt-out period for initial enrollment. In September and October, we'll be holding more information sessions and educating the community about the program in further detail and alerting them to their options. In mid-October, that will be the end of the initial 30-day opt-out period I just referenced. In November, enrollment of participants in the program will begin, and in December, you would first see Westchester Power rates reflected onto your bill. An important note about the 30-day opt-out period and opt-out in general is, again, you can opt out anytime without fees or penalties. This 30-day opt-out period is just for an initial enrollment if you do not want to participate in the program at the new rates come November. But you can always opt out again in November or anytime there beyond. So watch out for the notification letter. It will arrive in the mail in an envelope that looks like this, be addressed from Sustainable Westchester, care of Constellation Energy, and their address. It will have very clearly printed text on it, alerting you that this is important mail and not to throw out, and it will have your municipal seal on it to ensure authenticity. So keep your eyes out and make sure you open this letter and review its contents as soon as you receive it. We want to thank you for joining us for this information session to learn more about our organization, the Westchester Power Program, and the upcoming contract for the resumption of the program in November. If you have questions, feel free to reach out anytime through email at westchesterpower@sustainablewestchester.org, info@sustainablewestchester.org, or you can check our website for periodic updates and upcoming information sessions at sustainablewestchester.org/WP/ConEd territory. Thank you all.